Okay. Going to call to order the council meeting of May 17th. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
A quorum is present.
Any persons wishing to address the council, Assessor AG or the Housing Authority, would you call the roll?
Quorum is present.
On any item on today's agenda may do so at this time.
Good afternoon. Leroy Fisher, the First District. I want to talk about item 4 in the agenda. And I see where the police department are going to get some masks, gas masks, and other equipment and supplies. And I'm certainly glad to see and hear that. Had a question though, and it's a question I've been asking for a long time. Are any of those supplies possibly cameras for the officers to have on their vests as they are working in the community? And I asked that because I saw an article here yesterday. Torrance been having a lot of problems with finances, but all of a sudden they have gotten their budget together a little bit better, and now they are proposing to give their officers cameras. I know it's a much bigger city than we have here, but I just would like to see our officers with those cameras on, and I think that it would be helpful to the city with regard to some of the things that are going on and have gone on recently, even with the people who were killed down here on Inglewood Avenue in Manchester. So that's my question. If you got any answers or proposals for it, I'd like to hear it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carolyn Fowler, resident of District 1. I would like to address the council on item P1, the presentation on ocean desalination. I think what's critically important, a lot of people will know this phrase, God bless the child that has his own. One of the key things about water, which is critical, particularly in communities of color, is frequently we don't come and speak out when things that impact us, particularly that have to do with the environment, are important. In this particular case, I'm here today to talk about the presentation that you're going to have and why that's critically important in terms of the research that's taken place, in terms of getting away from the dependence and reliability of water from other sources. And the presentation will cover that, but I am asking the council to strongly consider supporting the responsible ocean desalination in our community. And thank you for your time.
My name is Willie A.G., and I'm here to speak on P1. This is something I've been waiting for a long time to see. All the water we got in the ocean, our parks shouldn't be neglected with water. We should be able to, something like this is going to bring the water to city Inglewood to take care of our parks and rest of the city. I can't understand why this hadn't happened a long time ago, and I want to thank Director Gloria Gray for coming forward with it, and I just hope this council do whatever is necessary to assist her and her organization to get whatever she needs. Thank you very much.
Mr. Matthew?
Good afternoon, Your Honorable Mayor Butts and Council. My name is Marcia Kinney, and I'm a resident here for 45 years, the city of Inglewood. And I have committed myself to conservation of water. Over the last few years, I have been looking into ways to save on water bill for the city. And I have done that. My water bill is down to the first level, tier 1, and that's about 780 gallons per month. And I do that at least 10 to 12 times a year. And here I am here to, in support of this water ocean dissolve, because I really feel that we need this. I think it would support us for the near future. I have been to other countries where they use it. The water is delicious. We're going to have more pure water here going through this system, and also it would also cut our costs and keep us from also running to thousands of miles to get it. And you know we're living in a desert, so this is the time to do it now before it's in an inconvenient time to try to do something. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. On item number 4, the Police Department, I think we should set a priority for cameras on the police and use whatever money's available for the cameras. That should be a top priority for the city. And I recommend that the council so make that a top priority for the police department. Cameras are important, and it will save us a lot of money. On Finance Department, we have an oral report on the mid-year term, and if at all possible, I would suggest that this council, when they give an oral report, you have receiving file, but now we're going to have an oral report. And during the oral report, if you would allow residents to ask questions after the oral report, because they do give an excellent report, and sometimes they need a little clarification. So once the oral report is completed, I'm asking this council, if at all possible, to have the residents, to allow them to ask questions to Mr. Esparza, and not answer each one, but compile them and then answer when everybody's finished with their questions. On the ordinance, what is it, 01, we could give some brief explanation on what the changes are in naming the, in amending the ordinance for naming facilities. And while we're on that, I think you should also look at the city charter. Quite a bit of it needs amending and updates. And with that, let's see, that completes what I have to say this afternoon. And we're moving in the right direction. And I think all of us are proud as what's happening in Inglewood. But at the same time, we got a 3-year period to be concerned about. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Felicia Ford. Whatever the police department, I'm addressing item number 4, whatever the police department needs for our city, especially regarding emergency, we definitely should not hesitate to give them what it is that they are requesting. 911 is the most important thing that we have, and not only do they serve us, but they serve the community at large. And in addressing that, you know, for the last 2 visits that I've been here, I've been addressing their benefits. And I just want to make it perfectly clear, I come decent in order, I don't lie, I come in truth. They do need an increase in pay, and I will give you a list as to why they need that increase in pay. And last but not least, benefits for the, okay.
You're going to have
want
to
me
stick with the agenda. You could go
Okay.
about their benefits at the
Okay,
end. of
I'll
the
do
meeting.
that. Thank you,
Okay,
Buds.
all right.
Mayor Buds. Because I'm just walking in, I apologize
That's okay,
for
no
being
problem.
late. So I did want to address a couple of other items with regards to the water. I think Gloria Gray has represented the Water District for the City of Inglewood with an outstanding performance of making sure that our water is clean. We abide by the rules and regulations. She really goes way out for us, and so I really want to commend her. And it's beyond commending. She does outstanding work for us, for the City of Inglewood, and I hope we keep her in that position. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, Michael Benbow, First District. and I'm addressing my full support of item P1 on the agenda and the water desalinization program. When I first came to this city, 20-something years ago, water was a problem. Water's still a problem. If you're in California, water's a problem. But I'm counting on my council, my mayor, led by my mayor, to lead this council in doing the right thing and getting on top of this, just like we've gotten on top of so many things. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've gotten on top of getting money to the city. Well, you have to prepare for that. Just as we prepare for that, we have to prepare for our water problem that's coming up. Although Inglewood is doing a great job in holding back on their water, some other communities are not. But it's very important that we do that. We need to get out front and lead the way again in how we're going to handle the water problem. We're represented by West Basin Water District, which is one of the best water districts in the country. They have a desalinization program that's second to none. It's doing its job and it's taking the place of other things that can happen, but we're cleaning up the water that's around us and using the water that's around us. Desalinization is taking the salt out the water. We got plenty of water, but it's got salt in it. We got to take it out. That's the name of the game here. We're led by our district supervisor, Ms. Gloria Gray, who I volunteered many hours for to help do this thing because I appreciate getting behind people who are doing the right job. And that's what's going on here. We're doing the right job, and we're accelerating in that job. I started taking water trips some 15 years ago and started realizing what the importance of water is to California. Last trip I went on, we went into Central California, and we got another side of the stories with the farmers. And now I understand why the grapes and corn and other things are getting this high price when it gets to the market. They don't have water to water plants. So when I went up there, I saw acres and acres of empty fields because this problem exists all over this state. We got it here in the city, and I'm counting on my council, my mayor, to get behind it and do the right thing. Like to thank everybody for listening and also do the right thing.
That clock is too big.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, those sitting on the dais. I'm not going to make this long, ditto to all the remarks that were made. I'm speaking on P1. But I want to point out to you that now Governor Brown has made it a regional issue for you to deal with the water. So we are counting on you. And also, I've had the experience of talking with people from Flint, Michigan. Everyone, that was a man-made problem because their governor said, oh, yeah, we'll devise a committee, Golden State Committee to do this. Now, they have a serious issue with water. We also have other cities around us. Gardena is one. We have dealing with school districts in L.A. We have L.A. areas, certain pockets that are getting terrible water. This is a project that has been worked on by West Basin. It just didn't just pop up today or pop up last week. They really are they're the leading, really, water districts in developing water. We need your help. We need the citizens to be aware of what's going on here. And thanks to Gloria Gray for doing a great job. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Trudy Goodwin from the 2nd District. I wanted to speak on 2 issues today. One is the Parks and Recreation and Library Services Department, and the other is the Police Department. I'm afraid that like many black or towns with large black populations, we're turning into a military zone. We are getting more sophisticated with the type of equipment that we use against our own folks than what you will see in other townships across America. Now, folks who don't have even as much resources as we have, know that the way to stem crime is not through gas masks and better, equipment against the people. We know that we need more resources. And so I'm here today to ask that what is it, $79,768 gets moved up to Parks and Rec so that we can work with the kids in after-school programs. I mean, I understand that this is a grant. I work for city government for over 30 years, so I get this agenda. But I also believe that there is a way that we can supplement what is going on with our youth, and not just our youth, but old folks need work. We got plenty of people in this town that are unemployed that we could use that money for to help generate jobs for them. And I strongly support item number 3, where you're looking at, adding $15,000 to the Parks and Rec budget. But I would ask Inglewood to do something bold and courageous and step away from this militarizing of our communities and bring more resources in here for the folks. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to address the closed session item 3.
Can't do that right now, sir.
Okay,
Closed
later on
session
this.
was before closed session. You could come back at the end of the meeting, you have a minute to do it.
Okay.
What's that? Oh, come on, sir.
But it's
Sir,
a public
no,
hearing.
it's still, you gotta wait, you can do
Yeah.
it when we have the public hearing, you can talk about it. But you can't do it right now, when we call the public hearing.
Okay, so
Not
later
right
on.
now. Not right now.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. It kind of distresses me that you didn't go into more detail on the item with regard to renaming our facilities or naming them for individuals, only because I know that in the past, it was pretty much seen as a change of the methodology so that one individual could have a public park named for him. Now, as we move forward, I would hope that we discontinue the practice of disregarding those who actually founded this town and start naming people who actually created it. Over time, we have lost Daniel Freeman's name. We have certainly not included the Machado family, nor have we included Robert Burnett, who put the 24,000-acre rancho together. And I would hope that even though our chamber says it celebrates history of past and future, that we actually go all the way to the days before current administration, the administration prior, and go to the genuine history of this community. Because absent recognizing your past, you tend to repeat the mistakes of the past. And it is only through understanding how a community grew up that we can understand why our transportation systems are the way they are. We can save thousands of dollars by not forgetting and discounting the history and learning why things aren't the way they are, and perhaps build toward the future rather than pretending that the only thing that matters is tomorrow, because in some future date, we'll understand that some of the contributions, hopefully we learn from things as in Flint. Hopefully we learn the lessons of Porter Ranch, and hopefully we don't repeat those mistakes right here.
Close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move allow payment of the bills.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council on Agency members Dotson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to receive public comment on the priorities for community development and housing needs to be included in the fiscal year 2016-17 Consolidated Plan and Annual Action Plan.
Has the notice of this hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law, and were all affected parties given notice 15 days prior to the hearing?
Notice has been given and the information is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
The staff report, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Royce Jones, outside legal counsel, will give the staff report.
I know. Mayor, we have to go back. We have a misprint on,
Do?
let me just read it.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a public hearing to consider the adoption of the resolution of necessity to acquire real property for the Century Boulevard reconstruction project.
All right. So now there's staff report. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor and, excuse me, members of the City Council, I'm here to present a public hearing, at the public hearing to request that you consider the adoption of a resolution of necessity and the initiation of litigation in the Los Angeles Superior Court to obtain, to file an eminent domain action to obtain slithers of property along Century Boulevard to assist with the Century Boulevard realignment project. And should you approve the resolution of necessity, which is a prerequisite to filing the litigation, there are 4 findings that would need to be made by the City Council, and I recommend that you make these 4 findings. The first finding is that the public interest and necessity require the completion of the Century Boulevard reconstruction project be conducted and completed. The described real property that we are proposing to be acquired through eminent domain is necessary to carry out the design of the Century Boulevard reconstruction project. The third is that the Century Boulevard reconstruction plan is carried out in a manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. And lastly, the City of Inglewood has either made the offers to acquire the property listed in Exhibit B to the staff report as required by Government Code Section 7267.2, or an offer has not been made because the city has been unable to locate the owners after due diligence, trying to find the owners to provide the necessary notice and author for the purchase of the property.
Thank you. Are there any persons present who suggest the council on this matter? That's that gentleman that wanted to talk before.
Or I do want to.
We're not going to ask you any questions right now. We're going to take public comment.
But I just want to note that there were 2 letters that were submitted.
Oh,
2
go ahead.
correspondences were submitted in opposition, which I will give to
City
the
Clerk.
city clerk.
I represent the properties at 4821 West Century Boulevard and 4949 West Century Boulevard. And a number of years ago, we installed dual pane windows to try to cut down on the noise there. We also installed dense vegetation there in order to cut down on the noise that our residents would experience. And the amount of property that we're talking about is, it will basically eliminate that vegetation altogether. And it'll also have a detrimental effect to the property the way it looks from the outside, because it'll basically become a concrete jungle. And so those 2 things are very important to us, obviously, because we're concerned about our residents and on our curb appeal. But in addition to that, what we're talking about in brass tacks, when it comes down to how the property is affected and what's going on, we're talking about changing a 5-foot wide sidewalk, which is already meeting ADA requirements, and turning it into an 8-foot sidewalk, which will just exceed those requirements. And so I'm asking that you reconsider, at least at those 2 properties, to do this because of the detrimental effect that it'll have on our property. It's been there since the 50s, and we'd like to keep it the way that it is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I just?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. I just want to, I did receive now letters, and so I would just like you to make them be for the record on file. Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. I have several questions concerning this. And from what I understand, it's a part of the property that wants to be acquired, not the whole property.
Correct.
So the question I'm raising is this. A lot of this property have mortgages with the bank. And what I've noticed is that the banks are reluctant to sell a sliver of property. And there's going to be some costly litigation. And I don't know anything about any cases that's already have gone through this where you can declare eminent domain for a partial part of the property without damaging the whole site. And it's going to be pretty tough to do that. So are you prepared to buy the whole property and entirely? Other than that, you're going to have quite a bit of litigation involving the banks who have mortgages on these properties. Thank you.
Roy Fisher, the First District, and I kind of have some of the same questions Mr. Matthew has. We came here today to try to get involved on closed session to ask some of those questions. You know, they have 17 properties listed there, and some year ago or so, whenever this was brought up, I asked about this, and they said simply at the time that it was for sidewalks. You know, they were buying some of these properties for sidewalks. Now, you know, just like he's saying, you know, these people probably can't sell parts of their property because the banks are not going to allow them just to sell a piece of their property. And if this gentleman here was right about creating a sidewalk that was 8 foot instead of 4 foot, you know, maybe that's so. I know that there had been talk about making Century, and maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, then you correct me and tell me about it. But making Century from Crenshaw going east 2 lanes. But then if you're going to make it 2 lanes and have a 8-foot sidewalk or whatever you're proposing there, you know, the only thing that I'm saying to you all, you know, is that you don't make things clear enough that people really understand, you know, what's going on. When we come up here to ask legitimate questions, we never get any answers, you know. And so you say, well, you know, you don't know this or you don't know that. And how can you know, when you don't try to make the things clear? This gentleman here that was given this report, he was stopped short of advising us of anything. I don't know what he wanted to say, but, you know, people need to know. And in this case, if you're proposing something that's going to cause a lot of litigation and it's going to cost us dollars, you know, and when I say us, you know, the general fund money, which it seems to be always giving a lot of attorneys a whole lot of money that, in my mind, is not necessary in several instances that, you know, I've watched going forward here. But I think that you could be much helpful in clarifying exactly what is being proposed and why. Again, because, you know, if people want to sell a piece of their property, like I say, maybe they can and maybe they can't, but you know, you're already talking about litigation and you know, litigation to take somebody's property just for the sake of making a wider sidewalk, in my mind, is not necessary. Thank you.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood, California, and very proud of it. I would like to say this. I have total confidence in staff. I have total confidence in this council doing the right thing. Now, this might be a hard vote, but if it's necessary to make Entry Boulevard more comfortable for people, millions of people, thousands of people transporting from airport to wherever they want to go, then I support it 100%. I went on the computer last night and I looked at the whole thing, and I mean, if it was my house, I would be willing to give it up to progress, like we have here in this city. And I just think, and I know for a fact that this council is going to do the right thing for 115,000 people in the city of Inglewood and millions passing through the city. So it won't be the first hard vote that my council has taken. Maybe this will be another one, but do what's right. I have confidence that you're going to do what's right. Thank you very much.
I'd like to say on the same subject is that the widening of the sidewalks on Century Boulevard, and I know the area very well. It's my street, and I always have a problem walking down. I'll be so scared I'm going to fall off in the middle of the street and hit by a car. So I thank you. I applaud you. Thank you.
I'm going to reiterate, my name is Diane Sombrano, and I think that we needed a map. We needed a presentation to show exactly what this was all about. Because this property that is going to be taken extends all the way from 2nd and Van Ness all the way down toward the freeway. And when we say that it's about the airport, I don't know that everybody comes down Century to get to the airport. A lot of people take the 105. If it's really about sidewalks, then I don't know that that is about the traffic. So perhaps it would have been wise to actually put up a map, to put up a graphic, to share what the plan is. But I know that you've taken now probably 8 more minutes than you wanted to before you did this. And I know that inverse condemnation is something that we have had to deal with before, and it made us a case study with that nice property we took before on Century Boulevard. So I would ask you to be cautious in the decisions you make, because we don't need to pay $1 million more for attorney fees and whatnot over property we've already messed with once before.
Everything is a hard decision. Before it's made, make the decision.
Like that.
Good afternoon. I'm the owner of the property at 4919 West Century Boulevard. I'm happy to see Century Boulevard improve. I've waited 40 years, 43 years actually. I'm confused a little bit, and I've asked the questions of other people, and I was happy there's a hearing here. I'm confused about the fact that I get an appraiser who sends me an offer of $3,000 for the entire front of my property. It's not as though I need the money, but at the same time, it doesn't seem fair. The property's worth substantially greater. It's just a piece you're taking. I'm not sure if you're adding to it or subtracting from it. In any event, I'm all for it. I'm not happy about the $3,000, and I trust that we'll finish Century Boulevard, and I thank you for that. And I am the owner at 4919, and I spoke to other owners at 4848. I also own on the other side of the street, 4840 West Century. It's about 300 feet of frontage in one case and quite a bit in the other. But it's very small monies they offered us. I don't think that's fair. And I don't want to litigate, and I will not litigate. But I just wanted you to know the confusion and the disappointment, but yet very happy to see Century Boulevard come to life once again after 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me ask you a question. Have you talked to anybody on Public Works staff about the appraisal process? Did anyone explain anything to you?
No, I've come out to the hearing here maybe a couple of years ago and about
Right.
3 years ago, and they told me to talk to someone. It went nowhere.
well,
It's
I-
very
I-
simple. It's not that confusing, but
I can't say that you'll get the answer that'll make you happy,
Yeah.
but I'll make sure that Mr. Atwell has someone sit down with you and explain the process and, you know, how the appraisers came up with what they came up with. But, you know, we have to offer you what's fair market value, and there was an appraisal process done. So I'll have Mr. Atwell have someone talk to you.
and also is the sidewalk being added to?
In some places, like take Century Boulevard between Van Ness and Crenshaw, on the north side of the street, you can't even push a wheelchair down that sidewalk. Even walking the sidewalk, when you run up against a light pole or a power pole, there's barely enough room for one person to traverse it. So, you know, in addition to that, there are other things that have to be done for the roadway's sake. So this is not something we do lightly. Everyone has complained for decades about Century Boulevard, and now we're trying to do the best we can. But I understand how you feel, and we'll have someone talk to you.
Big deal. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Atwell? You have somebody talk to the gentleman? Yes. All right. Okay.
Thank you. Respectfully, I know that you will have someone look into the comments that the people are making. This is their property, and even though we may need construction on Century Boulevard and have needed it for a long, long time, and this is the best time to do it, but this is their property, and they own it, and they paid money for it. And so I know you will, as a class that you have, and all those that are up here, that you will address them again, if you haven't already, but address them with regards to their property so that they will understand and not have confusion, and neither will any of the rest of the residents or those that live here and don't live here. Thank you.
Close public comment. Council comments. Council.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Dotson.
First of all, if I'm not mistaken, some of these properties have already been consented. They've already adhered to what we want to do. But let me tell you something. We would not be doing what we're doing on Century Boulevard if a lot of thought and investigation went into this process before it ever started. And we don't take anybody's property for just any reason. The reason being is that Century Boulevard is in desperate need of reconstruction. And if you take the time to walk down Century Boulevard like I did this morning, you can't walk down that sidewalk. And when that traffic is running down there 50 miles an hour and you trying to walk, you would be so nervous you can't walk. And you cannot push a wheelchair down. And so, you know, that's one thing by the state. We have to be in compliance with the state. So please don't think that we take this decision lightly, but it's a decision that has to be made, as one gentleman said before. So thank you very much.
Councilman Padilla.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I just got to say that we've always talked about how we're progressing as a city, how we're moving the city forward. This is in keeping with that progress. And with progress, at times comes challenges. This is one of those times. And so we've, as a council, have discussed this. We talked about it in closed session. Each chewed on it our own way and bounced back and forth with staff about any concerns that we have. So these aren't decisions that we take lightly. We appreciate everybody's comments that come up to the dais. And so we take that to heart. But we also want to make sure that we're moving the city forward, that we're preparing for the progress and the vision that we have to where the city of Inglewood will be, not just the next 5, 10, or 15 years, but 25 years from now. You know, and so we have to start making those changes now. There's never a right time to do something like this, but this is the opportunity that we have now to move the city forward. And I just want to thank those folks that have come up here to let us know your concerns and know that we take it to heart. Thank you.
Yes, following with my colleagues' comments, let me piggyback on that. Been on this council for over a decade. Century Boulevard has been the top of discussions from these last 10-plus years. And we finally was able to get accumulation of funding to be able to now do the entire street from property, from the city properties, from the city's boundaries, both east and west. We have had several remnants of how Century Boulevard should look. And we also identified the recent development that has occurred in the city with a heightened desire of people wanting to come to Inglewood. That being said, we also identify that Century Boulevard is a major thoroughfare to the airport. But we also identify that we have to be commuter-friendly and pedestrian-friendly. And we now have an opportunity to provide both. The number of reports I get involving vehicle accidents, pedestrian accidents, has all raised an issue regarding proper right-hand turn lanes, sufficient width of the sidewalks, because back in the days, utility poles was impeding the flow of the 30 inches minimum needed, or 36 inches minimum needed for a person in a wheelchair to maneuver around it. And now we're in a position that if we're going to do something, let's do it complete and whole, that will become a win-win as a whole. And I want to stress, as a whole, because the property owners are in fact going to be impacted dramatically. But as a whole, for the necessity of the city, this is a sensitive issue and a sensitive decision that we must make as a council. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Morales.
I won't go over everything that my colleagues did, but we all want to be on record, letting folks know that we understand the issue, what the gravity of it is, dealing with private property and having the process take it for public use and for public improvements is not an easy process. That's why the law allows this tool to be able to do it in a certain way, but it gives you a process so that to ensure as much fairness as possible. The gentleman that came up, I really appreciate that comment. He came up, he said, I own it, I just want to be treated fairly. I understand that in the end, we're all going to be better. And at the end of the day, on Century Boulevard, I visited a number of businesses who are currently right now being impacted because of the construction that's taking place right in front of their business. But in the end, all of them feel the exact same way. They've been waiting a long time for this street to get done. I mean, this is the one street in the city of Inglewood where we all knew exactly where all the big potholes were. You know why? So we could dodge them. And we all knew. I live right off of Century Boulevard, so I understand it. But I can tell you that so many of the business owners feel the exact same way. And they understand that we're all going to be impacted, but we're all going to absorb a little bit of it in order to improve ourselves in the end. So I just wanted to let you know that we all feel it. But this is a tool that we were given with great responsibility, and we're going to use it to improve our city. So thank you, Mayor. Those are my comments.
Okay, and finally, part of living in a society is recognizing there's going to be an intersection between the ownership of private property and the greater good and needs of society as a whole. When the 105 freeway was proposed, a lot of people were displaced. They had their homes in eminent domain. They didn't have to lose a few feet of property. They lost their homes because there is a greater good sometimes. A number of these takings are related to our requirement under state law when you do a major project to provide ADA accessible sidewalks. There is no choice with that. So, this is just part of society living in a community, and sometimes there's a balancing act. And some of these, we have no choice under the law but to do this, or the alternative would be to leave Century Boulevard as it is. I don't consider that an alternative. Okay, is there a motion?
I move adopt resolution of necessity initiation of a litigation in court.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dotson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales. Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR1.
Consent
Oh,
calendar.
excuse me. I'm sorry. Consent calendar items 2, 3, and 4.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dotson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales. Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR1.
Staff report presenting the fiscal year 2015-16 mid-year budget review report.
Mr. Esparza.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members, and public. My name is David Esparza, Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer for the city, and I'm here to present the mid-year budget report, giving an update on the status of our revenues and expenditures through the first 6 months of fiscal year 2015-16. As a snapshot of overall, we can, by this slide, you can see that our property taxes are up 6.3% in taxable value. Sales taxes are down 11% over the same period from last year. There's been a decrease of 6.1% in building permit fees, primarily attributed to the slowdown in work in the residential sound insulation program. Utility user tax are down 1% over the same period last year. Hotel tax, or the transit occupancy tax, is up by 15.2% in revenue. Hollywood Park, increase of 29% over the same period of last year. That is the casino payments to the city. And unemployment is regionally is down, and the city expenditures are also under budget at this particular point.
Thank you.
The as you know, the fiscal year 15-16 general fund budget started with a $12.4 million shortfall, and the city manager's budget plan produced a strategy to deal with that. $8.4 million would come from our reserve funds, 5% department savings for $2.8 million. $0.9 million was from freezing vacant positions, and 0.2 from other vacancy savings, and then 0.1 from reduced banking fees and increased revenues. This is the frozen general fund positions that were built into the budget. You can see that there's 7. Although the city has more than 7 general fund positions that are vacant, these are the ones that were held as part of the strategy for the budget balancing solution. And at 6 months, total projected savings is $440,000. This is the variance indicators that we use throughout the year. You can see that we start the year with a variance of 10% and bring it down to 7. And right now we're at the 5% variance, and you can see by the charts that will be coming up that we are well within that period of time because we are below our expenditures significantly. This is the summary of the general fund revenue performance at this particular point. You can see from the chart that, let me pull it up, that utility users taxes, right now we've collected 49% of what we would be projecting at 50% at the mid-year. Property taxes were at 51% of what we would be projecting at mid-year. Sales tax at 39%. State collected taxes at 51%. Other local tax revenues at 60%, and then other revenues at 60% as well. You can see in comparison to the last year, we have collected so far this year $43.9 million in general fund taxes as opposed to $46.2 million last year. This is a decrease of about 5% from year over year. This is just a summary of that. Again, utility users taxes are down by 1% or $110,000. Sales tax, $800,000 or 11%. Property taxes, 3.3 or 28%. This is down from last year. This is comparison from last year to this year. Other local taxes are up $1.2 million or 11%. Overall revenue, general fund revenues are down 5%. You can see from this chart that we trend out the collection of revenues for the full year based upon the 6 months performance, and you can see that we are projecting that our revenues will end the year under the projection we have. Mid-year general fund expenditure performance is shown in this report. You can see that overall the general fund has only spent 39% of its budgeted amount for this year so far, and that's $41.7 million. Police and fire expenditures are at 44% versus 50% at mid-year. General government, 24%, 41% for parks, recreation, library services. Community development at 55%. Public works, 38%, 13% for financing costs, and 14% for capital improvement projects. So this shows that we are maintaining our budget expenditures in line with our revenue collections, and the departments have been very good and responsive to maintaining fiscal constraints. This shows you the projection of those expenditures over the course of the year, and you can see that they are trending significantly below the projection for the full year. Now, keep in mind that this also looks at just the first 6 months and uses those first 6 months as a data projection for the remainder of the year, and so we haven't gotten into the busy season of the summer for public works, parks, and recreation, which we would expect those expenditures to start increasing. Again, here's a summary of the major points on that expenditure performance. Police and fire, you can see the division between police is up $2.3 million, fire is down $771,000. Economic and community development is up $1 million or 77%. General government down 52%, and parks and library services up by 544%. Overall, general fund expenditures are up 2%. This is the mid-year for special funds. You can see that in this particular case, special funds are used for those services or projects that are focused on specific benefactors that use them. And so you can see that overall our budgeted amount and expenditures are in line. We've collected 42% of our expected revenues at this point and have expended 33% of the amounts that we would expect. The last slide here shows the overall capital improvement projects. We're now including this in our reports. You can see what the focus is for the cities for ADA construction, sidewalks and walkways, street and lighting, transit stop improvements, streets and roadways, city facilities, parks and open spaces, water system improvements, sewer system improvements. At this particular point, at mid-year, we've expended about 38% of our capital improvement budget. Some of those facilities, city facilities, such as the senior center, elevators, police facilities, their EOC training room, and HVAC upgrades. Sorry about that. Any questions? That concludes my report. Have any
No.
questions?
No, thank you very much, Mr. Sparza. And the only thing that we want to clarify is this is a snapshot in time. We don't spend, nor do we receive revenues in a straight line. We
Correct.
receive them seasonally. Thank you very much. Receive and file. 01.
Staff report recommending adoption of an ordinance number 1604, amending Chapter 2, Article 10 of the Inglewood Municipal Code, updating policies and procedures for naming city facilities.
Motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
Move adoption.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. A1.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a number of different closed session items today. The first one was CS1, which was Jimenez versus City of Inglewood. There's a request for a motion for settlement in the matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Abstain.
As is TS2, there's a case regarding a closed session of Hearns versus City of Inglewood. There's a request for settlement in the matter.
So moved. Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Abstain.
Thank you. As to the next item is CS3 regarding anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. And a potential number of cases are regarding 17 properties located on Century Boulevard. There's a request to request a motion regarding litigation on the matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
CS4 was a closed session regarding a workers' compensation claim of Rhoda Adams, ADDAM. She had various claims. There's a request and settlement in that matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Abstain.
CS5 was a claim regarding the workers' compensation claim of Officer Dorenacourt. And again, there's a request for settlement in that matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Abstain.
As to the next item is CS6 regarding a workers' compensation claim of Moises Hernandez. Again, it's a workers' compensation case. There's request and settlement in that matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Abstain.
The last matter is the workers' compensation claim of Robert Richmond. Again, there's a request for settlement in that matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
And thank you, Mayor. As to your abstention is because you were not there
Because
during.
I was not present for the discussion of those items.
Thank
Yes.
you, Mayor.
All right.
As to the next item, which is the city attorney's report, there's no city attorney report at this time.
Thank you, sir. CM1.
Thank you, Mayor. There are no city manager reports.
C1.
No reports, thank you.
Thank you. CT1.
But anyhow, the total bond securities is $38,658,889. And the total certificates of deposits is $2,500,000. And the total bonds outstanding at, I'm sorry. Thank you. At April 30th, 2016 is $38,558,889. $658,889 for bond securities, and CDs are $2,500,000. The total for both is $41,158,889. And most of these securities are invested at above 1% or 1.2%. The highest is 1.35, and there are 7 bonds that are invested under 8.4%. And also, I would like to mention that the City Treasurer Student Intern Program, we just concluded it, and I certainly would like to invite the mayor and full council to attend our last session, which is tomorrow, and we'll be meeting in the community room. If you could come down and maybe have pizza with us and also take a picture with us. And I'd like to mention that of the students, there were about 11 students, 3 of them had perfect scores, and so I was very proud of them. And I'm also offering for each of them a $50 cash scholarship for those 3. And in the past, those that are seniors, I have given, this is my personal funds, as much as $300 for each of those. So again, I certainly want to congratulate all of them, and our awards presenting ceremony will be tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the community room, and it won't last much more than an hour. So if any of you are available, we very much appreciate you coming down. And I certainly want to thank Assistant City Manager Michael Falco, who did teach one class. He's been teaching classes now for roughly about 5 years. So I certainly appreciate his help, and the students really appreciate him also. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And I want to also congratulate Gloria Gray of the West Basin with Miss Water District on her water desalination program. That is certainly something that's greatly needed, and I want to commend you for such a wonderful project. That concludes my remarks, and I have another appointment, so I'm going to have to leave at this time, but thank you.
Well, then you were just in time. All right. Before we go to P1, I also am going to have to take my leave, but I wanted to let the people that were here for the public hearing know that the gentleman who thought he was offered $3,000 for his property was offered $23,000 for his property. So I just wanted everyone to know that. And now P1.
Yes, Mayor. It's a presentation on ocean water desalination by Director Gloria D. Gray of the West Basin Municipal Water District.
We're very fortunate to have had Ms. Gray represent this city and this region for so long, so faithfully, and so well. And we definitely look forward to hearing her presentation on desalination and the benefits that and drawbacks that it could have for the city. And the council will take action, and I know they'll take the right action. Thank you, Ms. Gray.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening again to Mr. Mayor, the City Council, City Clerk, and City Treasurer, and city staff, and also to members of the public. It's always a pleasure to come before this council because I have lived in the city for over 30 years, and I've seen the growth, and I'm very proud of the leadership here, and want to commend all of you, including the city manager and the assistant city manager and the attorney, because behind every good decision, there's a team. So I want to congratulate everyone. Again, my name is Gloria Gray. I am an elected board member for West Basin Municipal Water District. My district is District 2, which includes the city of Inglewood. And I've been elected to that board for about 10 years, and very proud to be on the board here. I do want to just take a moment to introduce a couple of people in the audience because it shows the team that we have at West Basin. I have 2 of my fellow board members here, Director Scott Houston and Director Harold Williams. And also, I have the general manager is here, and assistant general manager, and our legislative deputy, and most of our media staff. So we all do work as a team. So thank you for being here. And I just want to provide some brief remarks because actually the general manager will do the formal presentation. And thank you, Artie, for allowing us to be here because I know you went out of your way to make sure that we were on the agenda. And thank you. I started to call you director, but your cousin Franklin, all of you here, because I do appreciate the relationship that West Basin, and certainly me as a representative in this district, that I have with all of you. And I really do appreciate the partnership. We've partnered on many water-saving projects in this city. We have brought
all kinds of again, products that will help people serve water. And that's the bottom line, is that water is a precious commodity, and we can't take it for granted, and we do have to conserve it. And so I think this city has done a great job through the leadership here in helping the residents conserve water and in partnership with West Basin. So we do appreciate that. And just briefly, I know we're all excited about the Rams coming here, and I am also, and I want to say thank you to your leadership on that, but water is a very important issue, not just here in the city of Inglewood, but for the entire state. The governor certainly has made it a priority for him because he recognizes the importance of water, having a reliable source for its residents, its California residents. And so most of you are aware that we have been in a 4-year drought. And in fact, 2013 was a dry year. 2014 was probably one of the warmest year in a long time. In 2015, our snowpack was not normal. And snowpack is very important to the water cycle. We have to have snowpack because it feeds our reservoirs and it helps with the water cycle. West Basin has made it a priority to make sure that we do have a reliable source of water for its region that it serves. And you're going to hear from Rich Nagel kind of a brief overview of what we do and kind of what responsible ocean desalination is. But water reliability is very important. Right now, West Basin depends on imported water. A very large percentage of our water portfolio is imported water. And if you know, imported water is not a reliable source. It comes from up north. It comes from the Colorado River. And we have no control over it, whatever the climate may be. And so West Basin has focused on developing local resources. And that's what is very important to our water reliability effort. And responsible ocean desal is a drought-proof water supply. And so we are looking at all aspects of making sure that we have a reliable source of water. We've done a great job with water recycling. We continue to do a great job. Again, water conservation is very important. We can't believe we're out of a drought, so we have got to continue to conserve water. In fact, the governor has made that as almost a requirement that people really need to change their behavior. But I just briefly want to say that we are, the board certainly is aware of some of the issues in regards to ocean desal. That's why we are doing it in a responsible way. And what that means is that we're looking at 3 components. That's energy, that it's energy efficient, it operates efficiently, and that is environmentally sensible in terms of our pursuit. So again, I ask for your support. I'm going to ask Mr. Nagel to come up and do the presentation. But P1, item 2, and so I ask for consideration of your support to actually take an action today to direct staff to prepare a letter of conditional support for responsible ocean water desalination. And I also want to say thank you to the community who came out and voiced their opinion, because it's great to hear that our residents are very knowledgeable of water and the importance of water. And so I was very happy to have our residents to come out and do that. So thank you to the public that did come out today. So again, I'd like to ask Mr. Nagel to come up and briefly kind of give you an overview of what we're doing in our process. Thank you.
We appreciate it. I think she covered a lot of your report, though.
Councilman Morales, I think you're spot on. I think I better take that base hit. So very much, this is an honor to be in front of you. The only thing I'll augment for Director Gray, who did a tremendous job there, we're blessed because we have immense leadership by our board of directors. Certainly, Director Gray is a critical part, as well as our other board members here. The real issue comes down to snowpack and rainfall. And why is that? Over 2/3 of the water that comes into Southern California comes from hundreds of miles away through aqueducts and reservoirs, and that is what essentially is rainfall and snowpack. That's snowpack melts and is intercepted by aqueducts and brings the water as far away as 1,000 miles down here. So why is that an issue? Well, the issue is if you could predict rainfall, I'm going to go to Las Vegas with you and make a lot of money. because we can't. And in fact, what we're facing is there's lots of studies out there that show we're actually in a drying climate. We're not even a drought. Drought is in and out. A drying climate means in the next 100 years, we're going to have much drier conditions than we experienced the past century. And what that means is rainfall and snow melt is going to be unpredictable. The one thing we can predict is that ocean's going to be there. In fact, some say it's going to rise a little bit. And so if you want to secure supplies for current generations and future generations, we look for supplies that you can count on 24/7, and that is the case with ocean desal. And by the way, that's not the only thing this board is. It's one of a multitude of assets this board's contemplating to diversify the portfolio so we can ensure projects like the LA Rams Hollywood Park development have current and future and secure supplies for now and in the future. And that is a fundamental aspect of your community as it is our board. So I'll just say there's three questions that tend to come up about the opposition on desal, not opposition, questions. And I'd like to address those briefly for the council so they understand that. There are three areas. One is what is the cost? Two is it uses a lot of energy. And three, will it protect the ocean? So let me address each one of those for you. This board has spent tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to make sure that we have the correct science, the correct mathematics, and the right approach to address these issues. And by the way, we constantly ask the public what they think. We've done 2 public opinion polls in the last 5 years, and it always polls in the mid-70s. In fact, most people say, why haven't we done it already? Most. And then when we ask them, would you support an ocean water desalination that's environmentally friendly and energy efficient, it goes to the mid-80s, and that's what our board's going to seek. So let's address those 3 questions. Is it going to protect the marine life? There's a regulatory body called the State Water Resources Control Board that a year ago established brand new ocean environment regulations that are the most stringent by far in the world. And they spent 5 years studying that as an independent state body, brought out ocean experts in, 3,500 pages of studies and peer review work went into these regulations. Our board's committed to meeting or surpassing those regulations. The most environmentally stringent by far in the world, number 1. 2, energy. Yes, it is the most energy. So that bottled water that you have in front of you, that has 300 units of dissolved salt in it. We've all tasted ocean water from time to time. It has 30,000. So when we take a little gulp of the ocean water once inadvertently, it's 100 times more salty than that bottled water you have. So we have to squeeze the salts out with reverse osmosis membranes. Yes, that takes a lot of energy. We have found brand new technologies because of the board's vision to study ways that we can reduce the energy consumption, and we found that we can reduce it by 35%. It still is more energy than the imported water. Our board is committed that if they move forward with this project will at least be carbon neutral and go to carbon zero by seeking renewable resources of energy. That's 2. The final question asked is cost. Our board's committed that the cost of the ocean desal will be competitive with our world-renowned water recycling program, which many of you had a chance to actually observe, which we hope to bring as a new supply for the LA Rams Hollywood Park development. It will be cost competitive with that program, which was developed over 2 decades ago, which today has delivered over 175 billion gallons of new water that would have otherwise had to be imported from outside the region. And 175 billion gallons of water, it sounds like a big number, it is. That's enough water that saves precious potable water for a city the size of Los Angeles for 1 year. Had this board not had that vision, we would have been that much short. And finally, last week, the governor came out with his 3rd executive order in a row, 3rd one, to curtail water usage through January of 2017. Now, if projects like ocean desal come online, the board hasn't made the decision, they're doing their due diligence, that would cause us to have more water available than otherwise and have less cutbacks to the citizens. So with that, Council, the board dutifully respects and requests your support position for responsible ocean desalination. There's 3 tenets. One is that the board will meet and surpass the most environmentally stringent regulations in the world. Number 2 is an ocean desalination project would be at least carbon neutral to try to pursue carbon zero, and we do that through renewable sources of power. And then number 3, it would be cost competitive with our recycled water program. And with that concludes my presentation. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I don't know if there's any questions, but we are prepared to direct staff by motion. Motion number 2.
I want to comment. I'll make the motion, but I want to comment.
Sure. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilman.
So let me reach out to the individuals that enjoy the pleasure of preparing drinking water for us and thank the many directors for their willingness to lure, and I want to stress lure, elected officials to come see to believe. I had the distinct pleasure years ago when Willard Murray reached out to me with the Metropolitan Water District, said you need to see where your water comes from and what impact it has. So I opted to do that, to get a rude awakening of that. The water I'm drinking is the water I use to fish with as an angler. And also the identification of how, because of the turbines, with all the energy being involved, I got educated about LED lighting, which also helped us as the city of Inglewood with Measure R funds to now do our signal lights, which is now being implemented throughout our city. But it went even further because Director Gray embraced me, and a resident of the city of Inglewood, to identify that you need to have, in order to have as a policymaker, you need to have a better vision as to the true impact what this state of California is dealing with. So she invited me to a couple of these water trips, and I encourage any of the staff, the council members, to take a tour, because Michael Bimble and I were best friends. Every time we would go on these tours, we were together. But the rude awakening is seeing where the water level used to be compared to where it is today, and how people have their own fights. When we went up to Northern California, the Northerners didn't want the Southerners to have the water. The farmers were fighting to be able to get their fair share of the water. And then we were dealing with the smelt fish that was dictating how much water can even be flowed. Then we went to the southern part from the Colorado River, from whether it's Hoover Dam or all the way down to, and I'll say Arizona, but Lake Havasu area, identifying that, wait a minute, this water's traveling this far away to get to a desert area called Los Angeles. And so it's a rude awakening to me, because I'm so used to turn on the faucet, I got plenty of water. I'm so used to having a notice about there's busted water mains that occur all the time. Well, we got plenty of water to spare, because no one's making a big issue about that. Until you take those trips, until you realize the true impact it has on our environment and on us as individuals, you really don't have a true appreciation of what West Basin and others are doing. And this desalination has been going on for years for discussion. Now at last, we have a chance to have it implemented. And the irony of it is, where the two cities are being pondered about having it developed, they're just simply saying, not in my backyard. Not the fact that it's really needed and that we really need it for this region, but simply saying, well, yeah, we need it, but not over here. And I clearly want to go on record that I support this wholeheartedly, and I just want to thank Director Gray for her willingness to share with the public and those that are able to make decisions to make this thing happen. So thank you very much.
I think Councilman Franklin covered it pretty good.
I think he did.
No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
No, I'll just go on record saying that.
Go ahead.
I just go on record saying that I support it. I know it's been in the works for quite a long time, and I want to congratulate Ms. Gray for doing such a wonderful job in bringing this to us. Other than that, I'm good with it. Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dotson?
Aye.
Padilla?
Aye.
Morales?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, okay. Franklin?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales?
Aye. And just in closing, of course, Ms. Gray never likes me to tell her how long I've known her, but I remember being 14, 15 years old, and my dad would wake me up to go walk on her behalf, and I'm glad I did, and you know, she's always been good to me, and we're lucky to have you as our representative on the Water Board. We are very fortunate. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Public comments regarding other matters. Sure. Sure. Yes, sir.
My name's
Director
Alfonso
Williams.
Parker Jr.
Excuse me, sir. Mr. Parker Jr., may we have Director Williams, in case?
No
was it
problem.
something
I-
other than-
no, no,
did
no
you wanna
problem.
speak
No
on the
problem.
report?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
No, no, come on.
Mr. Parker.
I'm same issue you, sir. Go ahead. Thank you very much, Madam, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the City of Inglewood for giving me the bug to go after water as a career. I got my training for Public Works Director, City Engineer in the School of Public Works Director, City Engineer in the City of Inglewood. I was an engineer here in 1976. I worked under the tutelage of Public Works Director Bill Farnham and Public Works Director, City Engineer Bill Maher. I think they are long gone, but that's where I got my training. My office is right across the hall from the old water lab that you had on the second floor. I know you don't remember that. You guys are not old enough to remember that. But that's how I got involved in public works, city engineering. At that time, the city of Inglewood was known as the city that produced public works directors and city engineers, where we all got the training or the opportunity to serve and under folks who would believe giving back and bringing up young people. And I've been grateful for that my entire life. And I just want to say I want to thank the city of Inglewood for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Director Houston, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. Again, I'm Director Scott Houston from Division 4 of West Basin, so I actually live in El Segundo, a couple towns over, and just want to say thank you for your support of our process as we look at the possibility of ocean water desalination for this district. As you know, this has been a long project in coming, and there's still many parts to go. But of the 17 cities and unincorporated parts that we serve, I mean, nearly 1 million people are relying on West Basin for water. And so I think that as Director Gloria Gray and our General Manager Rich Nagel, so eloquently informed you, that it's really important as we look at the economic vitality and sustainability of this region, all these cities that we serve on the west side of the county, and I think also these awesome and important projects that are coming down the pike, in your community and the others. So we do thank you for your support. We continue to thank you for your partnership. I know that Director Gray does an awesome job, up here representing you. I'm going to tell you at my board, I'm very proud of all four of my other directors, and all 5 of us working together. We truly are committed to the water resources and development in this area and all the cities we serve, and to continued working in partnership with all of the cities that are in our jurisdiction, as well as all the council members and mayors. So again, thank you so much. I know we will continue to come back and ask for your help on different projects and so on and so forth. But again, I really thank you for your support, and want to say as well, I truly enjoy serving with Director Gray, and we continue to have a great partnership.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Houston. Thank you. Okay, and thank you for being here. Mr. Parker Jr., we apologize for interrupting. Please go ahead.
You can give me an extra minute if I need it.
No, there will be no extra minutes today.
My name is Alfonso Parker Jr., Vietnam veteran, 6667, county subjector. We need to, is your TV on, by the way, too? Don't answer that, just turn it on. I am representing other county subjectors, which were some of the first ones ever be trained in this country and sent into a combat zone by its country. This black program going on, you will never be equal to our society as a black person. We have rights, but they don't honor them. These presidents, commander-in-chiefs,
Secretary of Defense, they have a program to keep us in the status we have been since your grandfathers, and they continue it. My number is 323-842-3363. I can show you how it's done. I've served in all the areas in jobs that they use, from healthcare to company clerk, medic, you name it, I've done it.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Can I get my minute?
That completes your minute. Thank you.
It affects your kids too. You know that, don't you?
Come on up, Mr. Spencer.
Hello there, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, staff, members of the public. Madam Gray, congratulations. Years ago, I went to that experimental plant they had on Catalina Island, way back 25 years ago. Anyway, my name is Wayne Spencer. I'm here on behalf of the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, which represents the 11 South Bay cities, which is a consortium of cities that are part of our training community. We represent the cities of Inglewood, Lawndale, El Segundo, Hermosa Beach, Hawthorne, Redondo Beach, Carson, Manhattan Beach, Torrance, Lamita, and Gardena for the delivery of employment and training services through its one-stop business and career centers. My report summarizes the April 21st, 2016 meetings of the third quarter program years 2015-16. Inglewood One-Stop Business and Career Centers held 9 recruitment fairs during January, February, and March 2016. 361 job seekers attended the recruitment fairs. 136 individuals were hired on the spot. In the last quarter, the Business and Career Centers had 23 Inglewood residents in both career, adult, and dislocated workers.
Spencer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
1 minute is up. Thank you much. And I have stuff
Great.
here
Thank
for.
you, sir. If you could give them to the Sergeant at Arms, we appreciate it.
Inglewood family, I'm Wild Bill Widener, and I'm glad they got this desalinization project going. I've been around it a while, and I remember when I took guys up to the Oroville to the water project up there, and that's been a few years ago now. So, and in the meantime, people keep coming here, and the Colorado River project wasn't keeping up to where it should have been at the time. Now we've got a couple of more people here than we had then, and Oroville's not getting it done. And back at that time, there was these guys, they were out of the Navy and had these aircraft carriers and battleships and all that, and they had desalinization on all those ships and stuff. And the ships had populations equal to many, many cities. So it was proven, 40, 50, 60 years ago, that it would work. So I've wondered myself why we didn't do things like that. Now I'm in hopes that you guys are opening your minds to a lot of modern things, and like rent control and
Thank
some
you,
other
Mr.
things.
Widener.
Okay,
Appreciate
I got you.
Who is up?
Once again, Trudy Goodwin from the 2nd District. I wanted to ask that the City Council look into reparations for the families of Keisha Michael and Marquinton Sandlin. Those were the 2 individuals that were shot on Manchester, and until now, we don't have an adequate explanation of why these 2 young people are dead. Secondly, the police commission, up until, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, hadn't met since October. They finally met, I think it was last week, and we asked that our council, because you're the ones that appoint them, require them to show up on a monthly basis and do their due diligence.
Very much, ma'am.
Michael Benbow, 1st District again. I appreciate the solidarity and the leadership that you showed today. It means a lot to the people in this city, and we're very fortunate to be in this city at this time and get the solidarity that we get. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council. My name is Woodrow, CD1. And everybody put out your calendars. 12 weeks ago, February 21st, Marquinton Sandlin and Keisha Michael were killed here on Manchester Boulevard by Inglewood PD. We still don't know anything. I understand there's an investigation, but we're still asking reparations. That's including grief counseling for the family. I think that's a decent thing to do. Also, we want to know the timeline of the process for this investigation, right? Where are they in the process? We don't know. Also, please encourage your police oversight commissioners to go to their monthly meetings and really empower them to have real oversight, because that's what it's going to take to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Thank you.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see staff, council that we have here go back to Washington, D.C. and run all that trash we got there away and let you guys take over. I guarantee you that the country would be in better shape. Thank you very much. That shows how much I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Mr.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Council members, once again, I'm going to reiterate that 1 minute is far too short if you actually expect people to bring something to you of significance. But you've made it very clear last week and all the weeks before that you are simply about having a praise fest for yourselves. How appropriate that last week when I got home, I got to see that wonderful display of mandated praise in North Korea. And you know who it reminded me of? Seeing pictures of their glorious mandated leader everywhere, and seeing everyone in lockstep pretending to be happy in their delightful clothes. Kind of came back to that one final person who I used to have a great deal of respect for, but joined the foursome in saying, what was it? Get on board or get out of the way. Sounded exactly like that dictator.
Gil Matthew, District 4. I'd like to close this meeting in memory of Chief Willie Williams from Los Angeles Police Department. He came on board in '92, made lots of changes on the police department. He's deceased. Also, we need evening meetings. You know, people are working. Working people are not here. And we need to change that immediately. And we must give a high priority for cameras for the police. You need cameras like yesterday because it will avoid a lot of litigation and adverse rulings. Also, we're moving in the right direction, but I must tell you that you need more input from the residents. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's not healthy. So with that, maybe you can persuade the majority of this council to have night meetings.
Thank you, Mr.
As
Matthews.
in the past. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Hi, Felicia Ford. Hopefully this is my last time addressing very quickly with regards to the increase in salary for the police department 911. We've all had to use 911 in some kind of way, your family, you, or yourself, and that's very important. I speak of the benefits today with regards to their medical. They do not have lifetime medical, and I think from being on the force from 7 years to 10 and thereafter, they should have lifetime medical. And I know this city council, of course, you know, you have lifetime medical yourselves, and that I don't have an issue with that. And I want to say, if you can allow me to do this, I want to say respectfully, please give me a few seconds to do so. The family that's coming up to talk about the loss of their loved ones, I think that that was a tragedy. But I want to tell you, the last time they protested, the police asked them to get on the sidewalk, and it was so many police officers trying to direct the traffic because it was last minute. But just to tell you, they cursed the police officers out, and they said language that I
Thank you,
could
Ms.
not even
Ford.
imagine.
We
okay?
appreciate that,
But I
the
just
input.
want them to know my condolences goes to them.
Thank you, Ms.
But
Ford.
I
We
want to
appreciate
want you to know what happened there.
Thank you.
okay? Because I was there.
Appreciate the input.
Listen, you guys, I want you to know that with regard to positive things in this city, whether it's water or streets, anything, the people here certainly would support it, but we just need to know what's going on. Mr. Padilla, one thing that you said, and it's right, you said closed session and staff gets together and makes decisions, and you do. But the problem is you don't include the people. Mr. Dotson, you talked about wheelchair access on Century there. That's been that way for more than 50 years that I've been here. And, you know, if they wanted to, they could have always put sidewalks down there. Now they're doing it because they get the money. But I'll tell you that we've been talking about wheelchair access in the First District and all over this city for more than those 50 years too. And so when you start talking about access for wheelchairs on Century, ain't nothing happened down there anyway with people running down in wheelchairs. You need to start thinking about the residents of this city.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
you don't.
Fisher. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Okay, with that, we'll close public comments. Council comments. Councilman Dotson, do you have any?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I don't have lifetime medical. I wish I did. So I want to clear that up right quick. Okay, I want to thank the Inglewood Police Department for this weekend with me. We're at the Walk and Roll Challenge at Kelso School. Inglewood Police came out. They brought the bikes. They participated with the kids. They also gave free helmets. That's the kind of department we have here. So, you know, when you talk about Inglewood Police, they're one of my favorites too. So the other thing is, I want those of you who are hearing me or looking at this on TV, you hear a lot of things in here, but you have to use your common sense about what is said. This council sits here and this mayor sits here for you. We represent you. You elected us to do a job, and I know we all do it to the best of our abilities. So please understand that any decision we make those decisions with you in mind, not by ourselves, because we've already had conversation with staff who is one of this staff we have in Inglewood has to be the best staff of any state in this country. These people are very, very good at what they do. And if they weren't, they wouldn't be here working for you. So thank you very much. Have a great, great week.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick comments to Ms. Goodwin. You had mentioned something about grant funding, and just so you know that grant funds are specific, as you know, on how those funds can be used. I know you're concerned about Parks and Recs and what's happening there, but we're trying to do as much as we can with our parks. We're improving, Vincent Park right now, putting AstroTurf and improving that area as we're improving the other parks in the city. We've also teamed up with the South Bay Work Investment Board, as you heard the presentation earlier, working with our youth to do job fairs so that we can get them employed. But we're also working with folks, from teenagers to seniors to go to the South Bay Work Investment Board and find opportunities to get employment. So we care just as much as the next person about getting folks employed. I also want to remind folks that on June the 11th, on Saturday, is Inglewood's Cancer Society's Relay for Life. And those that haven't already joined the team, Team Padilla is always looking for some good volunteers. So you can join Team Padilla and come out on June the 11th at Crozier School right across City Hall. And it starts at 9 a.m. And this year it's different. It's not going 24 hours. It's just going from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So come out and support the community. Come out and interact with each other, residents, business owners, folks that come from outside the region to just be a part of a wonderful event. And with that, thank you for coming out, and thank you for having the courage to step up and talk about what concerns you so that we know from you what is important to you. Thank you.
Yes, I echo those sentiments of my colleagues that have just spoken. But I have a new item that I want to make sure is brought up, and I reach out to Michael Falco. If I err, please correct me. But the District 4 staff and I are getting a number of phone calls as of today regarding the space shuttle external tank that is coming through Inglewood this Saturday. There actually is a robocall, if I have that correctly, notifying the residents that there will be some street closures and that we want you to prepare yourself on your method of traveling throughout the city. Around 9 a.m. on this Saturday, the external tank will be coming through Inglewood, through Albervita, from the west to Prairie. Once it gets to Prairie, it's going to go north to Manchester. And then from Manchester, it's going to go through the balance of our city and all the way to the Science Museum. So when you get these robocalls, it's just to alert you that the shuttle, the space shuttle external tank is coming through Inglewood this Saturday, and just a precaution of just identifying as to which way is traveling, and you make a discerned decision as to how you want to travel. There is a program called the City of Inglewood Everbridge Mass Notification System that is being used by the city in order to make this notification. So you have the rest of my time if I've erred anywhere, Mr. Falco.
No, sir, that was perfect. The City of Inglewood has a mass notification system, which for the residents listening is a mechanism by which the city can do a citywide call out, or it can actually do a call out to a specific geographic area. It can be used for emergencies. In other words, the city may want you to know that you need to shelter in place for a given situation, or it may be just informational, but we would not use it for the purposes of simply advertising or anything like that. So your information is totally secure in that regard, but it does give the city the ability to reach out. There is a mechanism for residents to log into the city's website and go to a link which would allow them to key in cell phone numbers and email addresses and receive not only the phone calls, but also text messaging and emails as well. That information will shortly be going out in the city's water bill so that the entire city will be blanketed. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you so much.
Mayor, there was Mayor Pro Tem in honor of Chief Willie Williams. Chief Willie Williams.
So I apologize about that. We will close in honor of Chief Willie Williams. Thank you.